super rich, super yummy chocolate desserts. That is what I'm going to show you right now. One of my favorite desserts. It is a molten chocolate lava cake with a little bit of lime cream and marinated raspberries with a touch of mint and a little touch of gin. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to cook a wonderful dessert, but it's not always easy. And chocolate lava cakes, they're quite easy to do, and I really want to show you now a perfect recipe that's going to be foolproof, that's going to be time after time when you try this absolutely spot on. We're going to be showing you how to do a very nice and simple lime cream and then yummy delicious marinated raspberries. So we're going to start off with au bain-marie or underwater bath. Heat up our chocolate and our butter. We want gentle heat, not to burn the chocolate. We'll start with our chocolate chips, and we can add in our butter pretty much right away. And we're also gonna want a little dash of vanilla extract. Take a little stir. Let it all heat up really gently, mix together, stir well so the sides don't burn or they don't get overcooked. Chocolate does have a tendency to curdle up a little bit when the temperatures get too high. So we want to make sure that we have gentle heat on the bottom, a little bit of water in the pan, bring it to a boil, and then gently melt the chocolate with the butter and the vanilla. I'm going to show you how to do the lime cream. So it's crème fraîche with a little bit of lime zest and a touch of sugar. Really simple. We'll whisk it up with a whisk, put it in the fridge, let it stiffen up, and you're gonna have this really yummy cream. It's gonna be just a little bit different than your everyday cream, and it has a sour note to it that's gonna enrich this chocolate lava cake. And then you have the raspberries cutting through with the mint and the gin, and all together they make a really beautiful pair. So we'll have our sour cream into a little bowl. Want to take a nice unwaxed lime and gently grate the zest into there. We want to maybe zest about half of the lime, so it gives a nice green, limey touch to your sour cream. Gonna add a tiny bit of sugar to sweeten it up and give it a good whisk with a whisk. Just like cream, sour cream, you can also whip it up. Doesn't need much beating, don't want to over whip it either. But you do want to give it a good shake so it stiffens up, so later on we can spoon it onto the plate and it's going to look really beautiful. Just about the right consistency, didn't need much. You see there, nicely stiffened up, ready to serve. Raspberries, we're going to marinate them with a little bit of gin and a little bit of mint. So we're going to be taking just a couple of leaves and really thinly cut them with a sharp knife. Now we want to do this right at the start because we want these raspberries to marinate a little bit. We want to absorb all the flavors. So what we're going to do is we want to put them in a mixing bowl. Going to add our sprinkle of mint. Give a quick stir to our chocolate, making sure that it's nice and even. Reduce the heat if it's boiling too much. Gonna add a tiny dash of gin. You can put more or less if you like it. If you're a bit of an alcoholic, you can put a lot. We're just gonna use a tiny touch and a tiny bit of sugar to break down that intensity of the gin and also to flavor the raspberries, to bring the mint flavor out. Mix them all together. And we're gonna leave them now for the next 15 to 20 minutes while we are finishing the dessert. These will absorb all those flavors and will be absolutely delicious. Our chocolate is melting wonderfully. I think that is already more than enough. I'm gonna take it off the heat. What we're achieving here, we wanna melt the chocolate, we wanna bring up that temperature, we wanna reduce that right back down. We don't want hot chocolate whilst we're mixing with the other ingredients. So this chocolate now, once all the chocolate is melted in, we're going to slowly cool it back down to room temperature, at which point we can be folding in the eggs and the rest of the ingredients. Going to use a tiny bit of flour, going to use a tiny bit of sugar to whisk up our eggs. If you like to eat gluten-free flour is a perfect alternative for this dessert. It doesn't really matter whether you use regular flour or gluten-free flour. Both of them work really well. I'll always try to use self-raising flour, so we don't have to add any kind of raising agents anymore. There's great quality gluten-free self-rising flours on the market, as there is regular flours. So we'll be using regular flour today. If you want to make this a gluten-free dessert, feel free to use a bit of gluten-free flour. The chocolate is beautifully melted, still way too hot to mix with the other ingredients, so we're going to leave that to cool down right here whilst we'll be preparing the rest. So with the eggs, we're going to split the eggs and whisk the egg whites with the rest of the sugar, make a really nice meringue. And the egg yolks are going to go into the chocolate mix, really bind that together, but you also have to wait for the chocolate to cool down because we don't want to scramble the egg yolks right away in the chocolate. Now, whilst the chocolate is cooling down, put this out of the way, we can be buttering our molds. Really, really important to do it right from the beginning. Want to have some really nice and soft butter. And a brush, butter them well. Make upward strokes, which will help with rising of the chocolate cake. Very nice and even. We don't want too much butter either. We don't want your chocolate cake to start swimming in the butter. Just a very nice layer of butter all over the mold. Good at the bottom as well, making sure you cover all the areas. This recipe is perfect for 2. You can get 3 out of them as well. If you're cooking for more, you can double down the recipe, obviously. Works exactly the same. We're making 2 today. We want to give the molds a little dusting of icing sugar. Just a tiny bit here. And sprinkle it all over the sides. Make sure that you coat everything evenly. That's going to prevent it from sticking to the walls. Going to prevent it from... We have our oven ready on 220 degrees, really nice and hot. And what we're trying to achieve is to cook the outside really quickly and leave all that beautiful inside melting and running. So when you pour it upside down and you cut it open, the chocolate runs out completely over your plate. Absolutely divine. So we're going to split the eggs, the whites. We'll beat them up. And the yolks can go in the chocolate. They're going to provide the richness. Yolks can be blended into the chocolate. It goes really nicely. We're going to want a little help with cooling down this chocolate rapidly because we don't want to be waiting, especially on a warm day. It can take a long time. So we're going to just take a pan with a little bit of cold water and we're going to rest the chocolate in there. Exactly reverse of what we were doing before. The heat from the water was melting it. Now we're going to use the coolness of the cold water to cool that chocolate down. Chocolate is a very delicate ingredient, and especially temperatures have a really great effect on the shine of chocolate. And tempering chocolate is also a technique where you bring up the temperature, you bring it back down, you bring it up again and turn it down to make a really beautiful shine. We take as much as we can today by gently heating it up and then carefully cooling it down. We don't want it to be too cold because it's going to set on the outside, it's going to get lumpy and then we won't be able to make beautiful smooth dough. Scrape along the edges, making sure that we incorporate everything. All the butter, all the egg yolks. Always great to keep stirring, making sure that it cools down evenly. Otherwise it can set at the bottom, and once it is set, we'll have to bring the temperature back up. Really trying to prevent that. Refresh the water, making sure, because all that heat from the chocolate went into that bit of water before. So now we're cooling it down in a little bit of fresh water. This is going to go beautiful like that. Time to make our meringue. Now here we're really going to have to pay a little bit of attention because we're going to have to beat up the eggs till a certain stage before we add the sugar. If you go too early, you won't get nice volume. If you are too late, the egg whites will have already split and you won't be able to get a really nice firm meringue. So we're going to go on full speed. Our egg whites are in here. We're going to want to wait until the egg whites completely foam up. They become beautiful and white. You're going to start to see a nice little shine on them. That's exactly the time we're going to be adding in the sugar. Once the sugar is incorporated, you just gently fold in the flour and then we're going to make a beautiful homage with our cool down chocolate, ready to bake, ready to eat almost. You can see it's already starting to become white, it's starting to foam, but we want to wait a little bit, we want to get air in there. As soon as you start adding sugar, it's going to reduce in volume, it's going to break down these little air pockets, and we only want to do that at the exact right time. So we're waiting until the foam is setting, until the meringue is forming, and then we're going to be adding the sugar bit by bit. It's really getting there, the egg whites are coming up, it's about the right time to start adding our sugar. You want to be pouring it as close to the middle as possible. Tiny bits at a time. And gently let the mixer do the work and form this nice stiff meringue that's going to form the base for this dessert. That's that done. I'm going to let it spin for a couple of more rounds just to make sure that the sugar is going to dissolve and it really pack that meringue with as much stiffness as possible. And that is gorgeous. You have a really nice stiff peaks, gorgeous meringue. Our chocolate beautifully cooled down. We have mixed up the meringue. We have added the sugar slowly. We have made sure that we have incorporated as much air as possible. And now we're going to want to be mixing in the egg whites. Little bit by little bit. Blending it together really well. Want to make that marriage, as they call it. I'll be adding the flour and really finish this dough up beautifully. Everything mixed really well. Give it a good shake. That's going to be perfect. Now we're going to fill up our molds. We're going to fill them up about 3/4, I'd say. Just pour it in gently. That's one. Shake it down a little bit. So they're nice and even. And they go in the oven 7 to 8 minutes until they're perfect. Alright, our chocolate lava cakes have been in the oven 7 minutes. We're gonna check how they're doing. I think they're gonna be absolutely perfect. We wanna be balancing on the edge there. We wanna have a thin outside and as much of that runny inside as we can possibly get. So we're gonna check where they are. We're gonna wobble them a little bit and see if they are ready. They are looking gorgeous. So they're always gonna have to rest. Let's say give them 2 minutes here on the workbench just to let the final heat go back into the chocolate cake. We'll be checking out our raspberries, we'll be going after our cream, and we'll be ready for plating in a minute. We've kept our lime cream nice and cold so it retains its coolness but also the freshness that is gonna offset against the warmth and the richness of that chocolate. We want that refreshing element. And also these raspberries, because we've marinated them a little bit with some mint, with some gin, with some sugar, they're really gonna bring a freshness to the dish, countering that really rich chocolate velvety chocolate pudding that we've just made. So they're gonna be a little bit hot. Probably gonna want to take them with and then upside down. If you're really balancing on the edge the way I like to do it, then you want to keep them upside down for a little bit. Let it just set, let all the chocolate run down on the plate. If you take it off right away, you have a chance that it cracks on the side and it runs open just a little bit too early. So we'll leave it a little bit like that. And voila, that is looking stunning. Take a nice spoon of our lime cream. Place it on the side. And our lovely fresh marinated raspberries with mint, gin. Tiny touch, powdered sugar on the top. And that is the absolute perfect end to any meal I think anybody can put in front of you.